want to like Evergreen Harbor so bad, but I think it might be one of my least favorite worlds in The Sims 4. This is the world that came with Eco Lifestyle, and it's really interesting in theory. A lot of the gameplay is tied to the world more so than other packs because you can try to improve the environment. So there's all those neighborhood action plans for like green initiatives and modern developments that slowly improve the area over time. So this world's a little bit more dynamic than other places. The problem is that by default, it kind of sucks. So it's not so fun to play here if you're not actively trying to play with Eco Lifestyle. And sometimes you don't want to have to worry about waiting for the neighborhood to improve. And even if you want the neighborhood to suck, like maybe you want to live in Port Promise because it's kind of smoggy and gross, it doesn't stay smoggy and gross unless you really, really try to make it that way. It'll just kind of go away over time when you play there. And the same goes for these community spaces because there's 3 of them. There's one in each neighborhood and they kind of suck unless you actively work to improve them. And you can't even do that unless you live here. So this is just kind of a useless world for most players. There are a couple things that I like. For example, I really enjoy the apartments in this world. They're small and also we don't really have that many apartments anywhere. For Rent has definitely helped to improve upon that, but I still like those places. And these apartments feel so Florida to me. This feels like home to me. So I like these ones a lot too. And I realize I've been complaining a lot in the beginning of this video. I'm just trying to give you some context to explain why I never really build in this neighborhood. I can count on one hand maybe the number of times that I've made videos in Port Promise. And so I thought it could be kind of fun today to try and build something here. This lot has got to be one of my least favorite lots in the entire game. It's such an interesting location. I think it has a lot of potential to be cool for like a community lot. Is there ground tearing right now? Oh my God, the lot's bugged. Of course it is. Ignore it, just move on. But there's a lot of potential here for this to be a cool location. It's just not something that, is there ground tearing down there too? Wow, Evergreen Harbor sucks. This is terrible. Move on, sorry. We're gonna try and build a shipping container house on this lot though. That's the plan for the day. I like the idea of a sort of eco home. I want to have like a workshop for all of those eco lifestyle skill items. I want it to be kind of funky shaped. I want bright colors. That is the plan for this video. And I actually built this one live over on my Twitch channel first. If you didn't know, I stream on Twitch literally every single day. We play a lot of Sims over there and I do a lot of building as well. I'll link my Twitch channel down below in case you want to go check it out. My name is just lilsimsie on Twitch. It's pretty easy to find. Well, let's just dive straight into the speed build and we'll get started here. And you might be noticing immediately that it looks a little bit different than it did a second ago. This is the same lot. This is just the not bugged version. So for some reason, when I opened my game just now, the lot was completely bugged. All of the environment was kind of missing. There was tearing in the ground. This is what it's supposed to look like. You can see a lot more plants and there's like trash around in the environment too. I don't know why it was doing that. I think it tends to do that from managed worlds. And with this, we have a sim living here, so we're not having as many issues. But Evergreen Harbor has a whole bunch of problems. Just add this glitch bug thing to the list. At least the footage that we're watching back here is not glitched because that would be really sad if the whole speed build was ruined because of that. Let me kind of walk you through a little bit more of what we're doing here because this is a very strange shaped house. I'm gonna have to ask you to trust the process on this one because I know it looks really weird. I was sort of trying to mimic the shipping containers that we can see next to us off to the side. And my idea was to have 2 stacked shipping containers that are the main house. There's gonna be like a lofted bedroom upstairs and a nice living space downstairs. And then off to the right, I wanted to have sort of a staggered shipping container, and that one is gonna have the workshop inside. So in total, it's 3. It's sort of weirdly detached, but I think that makes sense with the style of the build. We used a bunch of different fun colors. I've got like some cool glass roofs happening. I really tried to make this an interesting shape and a little bit different from what I would normally build in the game. I also set out originally trying to make it into a tiny house, and I very quickly decided that it wasn't worth doing that because I didn't want to have to worry about different tile counts and stuff. I just wanted to build for fun. So we scrapped the tiny house concept, and we don't really have a budget either. I just happen to have a sim who's living here, but if we run out of money, I'll just cheat for more. Essentially, there are no rules. I'm just building this to build it. I was doing all kinds of funky things. I was trying like grass on the roof. I was trying to put plants everywhere. For a while there, I had all these black accents. The black looks terrible. I swapped it to white and it looks a lot better. It needs more of a pastel energy, and the black was just too dark. It wasn't working. I think for our rainbow vibes, it needed to be a lighter color scheme. Oh, and also no pack limitations. I went all out. I just did whatever with this build, which maybe I should have tried harder not to, but there's a lot of packs in this house and I'm sorry for that. So the main thing right now is that I'm trying to figure out ways to make that side workshop building a little bit more interesting. And I did actually keep all of the grass that I put on top of that pergola area. And I was trying to find more places to incorporate plants because I felt like that really fits with this sort of eco-modern home thing that we're trying to do. We're gonna do some messing with the size of them both. We're gonna mess with where the stairs are placed because I did want to have rooftop access as well, and I didn't know if I wanted to have stairs or a ladder. It was a whole thing. The beginning of any build is always just a lot of decision making and like back and forth of trying to see how it's gonna work out. It's almost embarrassing to watch back because I'm like, oh my god, just make a choice. Quit changing your mind. But I think we've all been there. It takes a bit to sort of get into the groove of a new Sims build. So I put a small section of actual roof on the back of the 2 tall shipping containers, and then I have the rest of it in the front as a rooftop for us to use. I'm gonna put furniture up there, and then I also put a wind turbine up there so we could try to generate a little bit of extra power. This isn't like a completely off the grid kind of house. It's just trying to be a little bit more environmentally friendly. So we have a few little things around the place to help with that, but it's not like a completely generating all of its power on its own sort of house. You'll see once we start furnishing around the outside, I put a lot of plants out there. We're gonna have like a bunch of bees and worms and all of that sort of stuff too, but we'll get to that closer to the end of the video. Right now we're gonna prioritize a little bit more of the interior. I just have to get through the rest of the outside planning first. So we're adding in windows finally, and I used a lot of the eco lifestyle windows, and I've also put a bunch of those little glass tiles from Island Living around. I'm using one above the front door and also one above the little walkway. I think they look really cool. It's a nice flat glass piece, and I was trying to have a lot of glass accents kind of to match the top of the workshop. I like those eco lifestyle windows because they're kind of funky. They're like a little bit more three-dimensional. They aren't just one big flat panel of glass, so it looks really cool on the outside of the building. I think it sort of makes sense how it's built out a little bit more too because the whole place is metal, so it's nice to have that extra texture. In the workshop, I actually put that big open sliding door from the Desert Luxe kit as well because I kind of liked having a big door, and I liked the door being open because it's probably kind of hot in there. I mean, it's like a big metal box, so it would be nice to have some airflow, and they're gonna be working in there making candles and all kinds of stuff, so there's gonna be hot wax and everything. They need to have some nice open air going in and out. Now we're adding in some grass outside to kind of cover up the horrible brown dirt on this lot. We'll eventually go through and put fences around and kind of lay out the backyard a little bit more, but I just wanted to visualize it a bit better because I hated how the dirt was looking. It was like really throwing me off. I had to change it somehow. Instead of using terrain paint, I actually used the grass flooring from Eco Lifestyle because it's the one that sort of matches the roof texture. So I thought it looked kind of nice together, but it means that you can't put terrain paint on top of it because it is a floor tile. And then I also kind of shrunk the lot in a little bit. It's a 30 by 20 lot, but I thought that was too much space. So I pulled the fence in a tiny bit more. And the last weird thing is that we're kind of building this backwards right now because the front of the lot is the other side, but the lighting was so bad that I flipped it around, and then we're gonna have to flip it back around at the end. I do that a lot for my speed builds just because I want to see the front of the house in like true sun color, but it does make for a kind of confusing video at times, so I figured I should mention it. And finally, we are getting on to the interior of this house. So it's quite simple with the floor plan of this place because it's basically just one big room. But in the downstairs, we've got the kitchen in the back, a small dining table in front of it, a living room up by the front, and then we have a staircase to a lofted bedroom and a small bathroom downstairs. You can also go across that little covered walkway to get into the workshop, which at this current point, I thought was gonna be a greenhouse. That's why I put the grass on the floor, but I ended up not putting any plants in there and using it as a workshop instead. I felt like it was nicer to have more space for all of the machines, because this pack has like the juice maker and the candle maker and the woodworking table and all of these things, and I wanted to fit those in the workshop. I didn't really want to have like a bunch of planter boxes. I put planter boxes everywhere. I never use the Eco Lifestyle machinery, so that was my priority with this one. We'll get to that in a little bit, but right now we're doing the bathroom, and you're gonna start to see the color scheme start to take shape. I used a lot of things that I never ever use in this house, including that bright yellow staircase. That was kind of like a focal point of the build. I also used this cool yellow wallpaper from Eco Lifestyle in the bathroom. It's got like a yellow stripe, and the flooring is actually just from Home Chef Hustle, so you can see already a lot of packs coming into here. The little blinds that I put in there there are from Discover University, and they were having a lot of weird glitches where the blinds were like breaking the window shape for some reason. When I would put the blinds on, you could see like a gray outline around the window. I had never seen that before, but I also don't use those blinds or that window very often, so I'm not sure which one is the culprit. I think it's the window that was having the issue, but it was weird. And then it kind of just stopped. Like, it stopped happening. Usually that kind of thing happens when you size stuff down or things like that, but I didn't do any of that. I didn't mess with it. I just put blinds on it and it broke. It happened again when I was trying to put a little cabinet next to the one in the front. So I think the window just has a weird visual issue. The other kind of weird choice of thing that I never use is this rug from Horse Ranch. It is very brightly colored, and I felt like it kind of matched the staircase as like a really bright, vibrant focal point. I like how it had some really bright colors, and so I kind of used that to determine the color scheme of the whole room. I put a lot of the Cozy Kitsch kit in here too, because the couches match so well with the oranges. I also have that Party Essentials kit TV because it has the LED lights behind it. I sort of snuck a little desk underneath the staircase over there, and don't worry, I did test this. That's why I have the sim here. It looks like she cannot get around, but trust me, she can. She can get up and down the stairs and stuff. I wasn't sure because it's pretty close to the staircase, but as long as they have a half tile to walk through, your sims are usually okay to get past something. The kitchen is really big in the back, and I use the Home Chef Hustle counters because they have that bright, almost orangey corally color. So I put those in here, and then we also have a little dining table in front of them. Considering how small this house is, it actually has a lot of space in the living area. I've definitely made tinier container homes, and maybe I should have tried to put like a second bedroom downstairs instead of having all this extra seating, but I liked having the dining table. Do we need it? No, but it's nice to have the dining table. I wasn't sure if it looked weird because I had like the little desk chair, the bar stools, and the dining chairs all in one place. Just like a lot of chairs in that section, but they're all useful, so I kept them. I also struggled a lot with what rugs to put underneath the dining table because I wanted it to be colorful, but a lot of them just looked a little bit weird, so I kept changing my mind and going back and forth on it. I was being very indecisive. That was like my main struggle with this room, was the rug, and I think I might have ended up not even using a rug, if I remember correctly, but I don't know, so we'll see what happens. There might just be no rug after all of that. I also got to use, there's like this little plant stand from Blooming Rooms, and I never ever use it. I always forget that thing exists, and I put that in here too. So this was really like the build of using things that I don't. I even put that big massive range hood from Cool Kitchen Stuff. I know a lot of people don't like that range hood because it is so big, but I sort of like how it's quite a focal point, that range hood. And also it has lights on it, so it's nice that it sort of lights up the counter space, but it is very big and it only has the one wall height, so you can only use it sometimes. And that's why I tried to find a place to put it in here. While I'm sat here trying to figure out wallpaper colors and other little accent details, this is maybe a good time for a life update because I tend to use these speed builds in that way. And my life update is boring. It's that I'm really stressed out about wedding planning. We have just about a month until the wedding, and so it's all kicking off right now. There's like so much to do. So you're probably gonna catch me talking about this a lot over the next few weeks in my speed build content. I might even start making some like wedding themed Sims builds and stuff just out of excitement, but I've been trying to like chase up people for RSVPs that haven't RSVP'd yet. And that means like people telling me that they're coming to the wedding, because you need to get their food order to give to the caterer. We need to have like final number counts to give to everybody for all these different things. And so when you send out invites to a wedding, you usually say on the invite like, hey, please RSVP by such and such day. That day has come. And so we're still missing a few. So I have to like message people and be like, hey, are you coming to the wedding? Which just makes me cringe so deeply. I don't like having to put people on the spot like that. And it's like some people, I don't know, like distant relatives that I want to invite but don't really talk to that often. And so it's just kind of awkward to randomly text them for the first time in like a year and be like, hello, are you actually coming or not? And if so, what are you gonna eat at the wedding? It just makes me, I'm too shy to do this. I'm actually meeting with the caterer today after I finish recording this video, and I don't even have all of the RSVPs yet. I'm only missing a handful. It's not that big of a deal. I need to like stop stressing about it, but it's causing me stress. I'm an overthinker. I'm a worrier. I'm like embarrassed to get on the call and have to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm still waiting on a few people. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But that's my update. The other big thing is that I have to finish picking out music. I have to decide like what song is gonna play when I walk down the aisle. There's so many like songs that you have to pick, and I didn't really think about that until like a couple weeks ago, and I realized, oh, I need to make a lot of music decisions. So I'm gonna work on that this weekend. end. I have really enjoyed the process of planning a wedding, but there are so many choices that must be made that I had never considered before, and it's really thrown me off. Like when I met with the florist, they asked me what color of ribbon I wanted to wrap around the bouquet. I had literally never considered that in my life. I didn't even know they wrapped it with ribbon. I guess it makes sense because you have to hold it so it like keeps it together. I didn't know that. Never thought about it. And they showed me swatches of like 5 different shades of white, and I was like, I don't know what shade of white. They're all fine, like they're all good. So many things that you just don't think about with this sort of stuff, but it's been a very interesting process, I'll just say that. But anyway, I'll stop yapping because we're on to the next part of the build now. I finished that lofted bedroom. You saw it was quite rainbow. I'll give you a tour at the end because I didn't point anything out when I was actually building it. But now we're working on the workshop, and this one took me so long to figure out because the workshop has a lot of this sort of ugly equipment in it. I hate to say it, but it just is ugly. There's like the recycling machine and that juice maker. All of it is just kind of a bit much. So I was really trying to lay it out in a way that wasn't horrible. I started by putting the woodworking table in the middle of a rug, like sort of right in the front of the room. And then I laid out a bunch of the other stuff that I wanted to include, things like random couches and like the different accessories. And the big thing that was throwing me was the fabrication machine. That's like that weird roundish glass thing. That's the one that you can use to craft furniture with Eco Lifestyle, but I find it so impossible to fit anywhere. I just think that thing looks bad all the time. And so I wanted it to fit in this room. It was not working. I ended up putting it outside, which you'll see in the end, but there was a lot of back and forth about where to put that item, and it just never ended up working out how I wanted it to. Instead, we have the juice maker, the recycling machine, and the candle maker inside of this room, which is a fine amount of objects, and they all kind of match each other. They all match except for the fabricator for whatever reason. I did also put an easel, so there's just kind of like a great deal of random crafty decor. All of the crafts that you can do, they're in this room. I need to start putting rooms like this in more of my lots because this is like the most useful thing. The Sims is full of random machinery. We always need stuff like this, and I never include it because it's just kind of ugly to make this sort of space. But for actual gameplay, like in all of my legacy challenges, I always need something like this because somebody's got some kind of random skill and they need the microscope, they need the cupcake machine, and this is where you can put that kind of stuff. You need like a weird appliance shed in your game. I tried to put a couple of divider walls just so we could have a little bit more visual interest back here, and also so I could kind of hide the recycling machine because that is also kind of an ugly piece of equipment. I don't know if it looks good or not, but I tried to make it work. And then in this back corner, this is where I put that fabrication station. I found a couple of these cool pergola items from Eco Lifestyle, and so I put the fabricator underneath that, and I did it in a pink color to sort of match part of the building. I'm not sure if it's gonna break in the rain like that, but I figure like if it breaks in the rain, that's just more handiness skill for you to gain, and that's what you need on this lot, so it's fine, right? And then I went through and put some landscaping, so we have a few trees, there's some bushes, a couple little bits of wildflowers, and in the front here is where I put all of the planter boxes. I went back and forth on which planter box to use because there's like the base game square wooden ones. These ones from Eco Lifestyle are fabricated, so they're ones that you have to actually make, and you get them out of debug if you're looking for them easily. But they're like pre-watered, so they water your plants for you, which could be a really good thing unless you're trying to build the gardening skill, because then you don't have to water your plants. So you can't really finish the aspiration for gardening or any of that stuff. So I ended up swapping them back out just for some plain piles of dirt. That sounds bad. I used like the ones from Cottage Living, the actual nice ones. And then I put a few little pathways around. So I went through and got a few of the debug paths just to kind of fill in the lot a little bit more. I put them up from the front walkway over to the ladder to get to the roof. And then I kind of put them around from this back area over to the pergola space. Back here, I also had to try and fit in a dumpster and then all of our bugs. So we have a long list of things that need to fit in this area. Feels kind of weird to have a dumpster too, but honestly, like gameplay wise, you sort of need that dumpster. It's really useful. And I fenced it in a little bit with some of the Eco Lifestyle fences, so it looks a little bit less jarring on the front of the lot. You don't just look here and see dumpster. You look there and see fences, but you can kind of sneak in from the back if you need to use it. I wish that we had more fences like that, like some cool kind of privacy divider-like fences, because those work so well for spaces like this. Eco Lifestyle has a few because they've got them in the different wall heights, so it fills the full wall, which I really appreciate. This is the swapped out version of the little planter box. I just put the dirt instead, and I used the debug fence from Dine Out, believe it or not. It's actually a half wall trim, but you can use it like a fence if you go into debug. And then I put a couple of little debug corner pieces on the edges too, just to kind of finish it off. And now we're going back through, we're getting some fake plants, we're getting like some games tables, trying to fill up what to add on the rooftop. I ended up putting a grill, and I think I put some lounge chairs up there. I didn't want to put a whole umbrella table because it looked really tall. So I just put like some tables and chairs instead without the umbrella because it was a little bit flatter. I feel bad for the test sim because I'm just like sticking chairs right on top of her. But I used some of the chairs from City Living in a couple different metal colors. And then I think I even used matching ones underneath the pergola. I liked the rainbow vibes of that. And of course, I put the picnic blanket from Love Struck. I like to call it a woohoo blanket, but it does have a picnic basket on it to make it a little bit more useful. So your Sims can come up here and woohoo on the roof if they so desire. There's quite a few woohoo spots here because they have the dumpster as well. And then underneath the pergola, again, next to that stupid fabricator, I tried to put a couple more grill type things. So instead of an actual grill, I put the pizza oven over there. We've got a table again. I was just trying to last minute think of any other different types of skill items or like functional items that we could add in. I also put a sink so it's easier to wash stuff. And that's just about the entire build finished. We're really just doing some last minute little details now at this point, putting some drink trays, putting some extra clutter, last minute little decor, last minute bugs, because I forgot to add the bugs in. And I actually built this before my flight to my grandparents' house a couple weeks ago. And so at this point, I was like down to the wire. I had to leave for the airport in like 10 minutes. So I was like, chat, I gotta speed run the end of this. I'm like speed placing solar panels, trying to make it work faster. Just doing these little last minute things as quickly as possible. But with those last little things, we're just about done. So next we're gonna go back into the game and I'll give you a tour of the finished product. I always know it's hard to see because it's sped up so fast and I'm like zipping around. The lot's not that big, but it's still enough to throw you off. So as a reminder, we built this on that shipping views lot. I'm gonna bring a sim here and see if it can make it not glitch. There we go. Okay, it's just building from manage worlds that's bugged. When you come in with a sim, it's not broken like this. That's so weird. I guess it's because the lot is dynamic. Oh, now it wants to crash when I tried to open the gallery. Why? Okay, well on the gallery, it's called Colorful Eco Home. It's 65,000 simoleons and it uses a bajillion packs, like an embarrassing number of packs. Let me place this down real quick. And this is what it looks like when you first load in. So I really enjoy the color scheme of this. I think it's really fun. I put this kind of funky bike in the front to bring out some more of those colors. And here's like a top-down overview. So in the front of the lot, we have all of those planter boxes. You can plant 4 plants in each of these. So if you wanted to put like soybeans so that you can make candles more easily, that sort of thing I would put over here. When you come around this side, you can get to like the patio part of the shed. So out here we have a flower arranging table. There's a couple more covered plants. So those will grow in any season, which is maybe a better place for your soybeans actually, because you can get them year round. I also put a card table so you can play any of the games like puzzles, Don't Wake the Llama, like all of that stuff. If you keep going this way, I've got some vertical planters for a couple of extra plants and also all of those bugs. So you can put like worms in there as the insect farm. Around the back even further, this little open fence area takes you into the dumpster, so it's kind of hidden. And then we have that pergola space with the ugly fabricator, our pizza oven, and an extra dining table. To actually enter the house, you'll walk up this little front walkway. I've got a mailbox here from Get Together, believe it or not. Get Together has 2 of the best mailboxes in the game, but this one's kind of modern, so it fits pretty nicely there. In through these little doors, we walk straight into the living room. So we've got a couch here, we've got a big TV, and again, it's functional. Your sim can totally use it. If they walk a bit further forward, they have their little dining table. They've got a small desk nook underneath the stairs and also a big kitchen in the way back. It gets beautiful light in here. It is really bright and really pretty. There's also a small bathroom downstairs, just got like a shower, a sink, and a toilet. I didn't put a bathtub. In hindsight, maybe it would have been good to have one because it's more functional if you have like a dog or something, but I didn't put any pet items here, so hopefully it's okay. And then upstairs, we have that lofted bedroom. It's really small, but I put a keyboard, a little shelf, there's like a dresser space, and of course our bed. I really like the rainbow vibes. I think it's pretty fun with the color scheme. This bed is from Growing Together, and the rug that we're using is from Dream Home Decorator, and I think they match pretty well. It's always hard for me to mix and match patterns, but I don't think these are too bad because this one's kind of subtle. And if you wanted to go into the workshop from here, this door will take you over there. There's like a little covered walkway, and this is what the workshop looks like kind of as a top-down overview. I like this woodworking table right in the middle. I think it helps to split up the space nicely. They also have that easel I mentioned. This is the juice fizzing station. There's candles over here, another dresser just to take up space, and then of course that that recycling machine, which is so hard to use anywhere, but I tried. And that's the whole build. It's really not very big. It's a 30 by 20 lot. It's just one bedroom, but it packs a punch because it's got a lot of random skill building stuff in it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I really liked building this one. I'm actually gonna post another sort of, oh, I forgot about this. Oh my God, the roof. Sorry, if you come around this way, there's a ladder up the side of the building and there's a roof at the top. I put some more planter boxes. There's some random plants, also a grill, and then of course the blanket. That's the whole build. But I think it's just kind of cool. It's a bit different for me. It's out of my comfort zone. I really like how this glass roof section looks on top of this area. I just feel like that's so cool. To do that, I used a bunch of different roof pieces. Basically, I put like a frame of roof pieces around the sides, and then I have a smaller one in the middle, and I just lowered it down one tile so it wouldn't clip, and I put glass on that so it kind of looks like a cool glass roof. It's kind of finicky to make roofs function like that, but if you try hard enough, you can get some kind of cool stuff. And now I'll stop talking. Okay, that is the full build. And like I was saying, I'm posting a rainbow video in a couple of days. I built like a kind of rainbow apartment. I don't know what's happening with me. I'm building a lot of very brightly colored things this week. And with that, I'm gonna go and I shall see you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. I wish the lighting was just a little bit better in that gallery photo. That's why I built it backwards, because it's so shadowy during the day. I don't want the gallery preview picture to be in the shade. You can't tell how bright and colorful it is.